Julio Ortiz, the Rookie of the Month in the National League of the MLB. How you doing, everybody? Welcome back. It's Mr. Relevant. I'm Alex Strouf with you. Mr. Relevant, of course, presented by Door County Distillery, locally produced, handcrafted, and award-winning spirits, coming to you live from the Gruber Law offices. One Call, That's All studio in the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee, historic downtown Milwaukee. Hunter Vaughn back at the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison, Wisconsin. Good to be back with you after a great weekend, a weird weekend, a fun weekend, a wacky weekend, and a good sports weekend in the state of Wisconsin as the Brewers sweep the Chicago White Sox, extend their lead in the NL Central, now up to 7 games for the Crew, a 7-game lead in the NL Central. They're undefeated in the month of June. I know it's June 3rd, but they're still undefeated in the month of June. They've won 5 straight. Lots to get into from the Crew. Justin Jefferson, the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history, as that it comes across this morning. What does that mean for the Packers, who have a very different wide receiver situation going on up in Green Bay? We'll get into that. My buddy Pablo Iglesias, WKOW in Madison, sports anchor and reporter, will join me in about 15 minutes to talk a little Packers, talk a little Bears, talk a little NFC North, talk a little shenanigans. We'll get into that with Pablo. I moved this weekend. That was interesting. We'll get into that as well a little bit later in the show. And, of course, we'll wrap it up as we always do with what Strouf learned. But first, as we always lead off the show, because you never know what he's going to say, Tiny Hands, how are you?
I'm great. Yeah. Fixed my mother-in-law's lawnmower this weekend, so I was real proud of myself for that one.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. Stop right there. So you fixed her lawnmower. What does that mean? The blades weren't turning. They were broken. What does that mean?
So got a call on like Thursday, or my wife got a call on Thursday saying, hey, when you and Hunter come over this weekend, can you have him take a look at my lawnmower? She was like, I started mowing the lawn and all of a sudden it just stopped. And I used to work for a hardware store that rented out equipment and that. So I'm like, yeah.
I didn't know that about you. Okay.
I'm just a multifaceted guy, Stroh.
Clearly, yeah, no doubt.
So I was like, yeah, I can take a look. In my mind, I'm thinking this might be the carburetor. I don't want to have to fix one of those. It's not fun. It's not a big deal, but it's not something I really wanted to do because I haven't done it in close to 10 years.
Sure.
So I go take a look at the lawnmower. I'm like, it's got gas in it. It's got oil. The oil looks good. You know, I try to start it and I'm like, yeah, nothing's happening. And then I look at the front and for some reason the cord going to the spark plug came disconnected.
Yeah, you're losing me.
So basically it just wasn't sending the spark to make the engine run. So super easy fix, but I was very proud of myself and I was the hero of the weekend for that. So I'm feeling good.
Would you consider yourself a handyman? Like, do you view yourself as a good, like, Bob the Builder type fixer of things?
I know enough to be able to diagnose most issues, and then I know what to Google to be able to, like, learn to fix it. I think that's kind of where I'm at with things. Like I said, I worked at a hardware store. My dad builds furniture and that, so like I know most of those things. Unfortunately, when I was 13, 14, 15 and my dad was waking me up on a Saturday morning saying, hey, I need help in the garage, I wasn't fully focused. I was like, this is stupid. I don't want to be here. I just want to go play Grand Theft Auto. But I like picked up enough through all of that I can kind of figure things out.
All right, this is good to know. If I ever break something, I guess you'll be my call going forward. That's interesting. Well done.
I may not answer, but
that's fine. But well done nonetheless. Congratulations to your mother-in-law for having a functioning lawnmower once again. Very happy for her. And that's a weekend, baby. How about the weekend for the Milwaukee Brewers, though? A 3-game homestand with the Chicago White Sox. And, none of them were that close. A couple of thrillers there. At the end. Saturday was a really fun one. Willie Adames walks it off for the Brewers, but 12-5 Friday, 4-3 Saturday, 6-3 yesterday, including a rather interesting play at the plate with one of the best catchers, if not the best catcher in all of baseball this season, William Contreras, and Tommy Pham, who I don't think anybody realized was on the White Sox except White Sox fans until yesterday. So, interesting play at the plate. Let's do this, Hunter. Let's take a look at the Chicago White Sox TV network, how it went down, the call from them, and then we will hear from Tommy Pham, and I'll give you my take on everything. Let's start with the Chicago White Sox TV network on NBC Sports Chicago.
Here's the throw to the plate, and he's out. And Contreras is barking at him. Tommy Pham's barking back. He's not backing down. He doesn't like that. And now home plate umpire Edwin Jimenez has to hold back Pham. Nah, we ain't taking that. We ain't taking that from the Brewers. I don't care how many L's we got this year. We ain't taking that.
I mean, first off, phenomenal job by that TV guy. We ain't taking that. I mean, way to oversell what really wasn't that big of a deal, right? It's a play at the plate. Tommy Pham goes into the infield, bad angle, nice throw from the outfield, and Contreras makes a play at the plate. It wasn't close. That was clearly an out. Now, Tommy Pham, known D-bag in the MLB. Let's think back a few years when the MLB took the world by storm and we found out all these MLB players are just like us, the regular schmegular everyday guys playing in a fantasy football league together. Tommy Pham, though, he got really angry over something that happened in the fantasy football league group chat. He open hand slapped a man over the fantasy football league before quitting the league. He backed out of the league, open hand slapped a man, and left the league. Now, Tommy Pham, since the open hand slap, well, apparently he's been training, at least according to what he had to say in his post-game interview in the locker room at AmFam Field. Take a listen to known D-bag Tommy Pham.
I'm going to the dugout, and, I hear the tough guy with all the hoorah so I'll never start anything, but I'll be prepared to finish it. There's a reason why, I do all kinds of fighting in the off season, because I'm prepared to somebody up. So you can take it as what it is.
The hoorah bleep. I'm ready to bleep somebody up. Now, I haven't done any deep dive research into Tommy Pham's off-season workout routine, but I imagine it's probably some jiu-jitsu or some boxing or punching a bag. Look, I'll be the first to say it. I wouldn't want to get in a fight with Tommy Pham. I mean, I know I called him a D-bag, and I know I made fun of his open-hand slap, but look at that dude. He's a unit. He would F me up. But William Contreras, I don't know about that. Did he really want to get into a fight? The video we just watched didn't look like he really wanted to get into a fight. It just looked like he wanted to do some of that tough guy hoorah bleep. And that's exactly what he did in his post-game interview. The tough guy hoorah bleep. The 15-win White Sox are the worst team in baseball, and it ain't very close. They're horrible. So, yeah, I get the frustration. I get the anger. But the tough guy, hoorah bleep, get the hell out of Milwaukee with that. Brewers 3-0 over the White Sox over the weekend. 5 in a row for the Crew. 7 games up in the NL Central. This young team with fire and energy is totally in and working in the first season for Pat Murphy as the Brewers manager. Hunter, I know you got plenty to say on this tough guy hoorah bleep.
I do, and it's bringing out this weird fake toughness from Chicago sports fans, because this has been all over Twitter since this happened yesterday, and Chicago likes to act like they're this big East Coast city and they're tough and they're not going to take any crap from anybody. Well, the White Sox did just take a bunch of crap from the Brewers, and I've just realized that Craig Counsell was suppressing this super fun team. And that's exactly what this is now. Is Pat Murphy's like, no, I know the personalities we've had in this clubhouse. I know how fun these guys can be. I know that these guys just want to have fun playing a game. So I'm going to let them have fun. I'm going to let them celebrate when you get gunned down at the plate, and I'm going to let it happen. And that's all that this is. I've seen some fans on Twitter literally trying to say that Pat Murphy can't control this clubhouse. No, he has complete control over it, and he knows how to let his guys be guys. And that's all this is, and I love it. Pat Murphy's my man, and I love it. He's now my favorite of all of the coaches in Wisconsin sports.
Oh, I mean, I like that take, right? Like, I don't think Doc Rivers is high on that list. You're not a Packers fan. Greg Gard, Luke Fickle, Shaka Smart, Shaka? You're taking him over Shaka?
I think I'm taking him over Shaka.
Wow.
It's a very close second for Shaka, but right now I am in the honeymoon phase with Pat Murphy. I love this man.
I mean, we all are. He rocks, man. Like he is taking this team's energy and youthfulness to a new level. I've made this comparison before, Hunter, but I know you and I are in agreement on this. And this Brewers team reminds me of that Packers team from a year ago. Very young, inexperienced, not really sure what to expect. But damn, are they coming together a lot quicker than we expected. Just want to get to some of the reaction on the YouTube streams. ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison. Apologize if my pronunciation on this wrong. I think it's AFAM or AFAM says, the shadow boxing was hilarious. There's something we didn't show is when Tommy Pham ran back out to the outfield the following inning, he was throwing punches at the air. Some of that tough guy hoorah bleep from Tommy Pham as he took his position back out in the outfield. Yeah, that was funny. AFAM, got it, my man. Appreciate the comment. Joseph on the ESPN Madison chat says, Pham, what a total clown. If he is so tough, why don't he try out for the Bears linebacking unit? And then he also chimes in, I vote Hunter for the president of the Pat Murphy fan club. You got my vote too, Hunter.
I will gladly accept.
President Tiny Hands of the Pat Murphy fan club. I love it. All right, let's get to this. Justin Jefferson of the Minnesota Vikings becomes the highest paid wide receiver in the National Football League's history this morning as he signs a massive deal to extend his tenure with the Minnesota Vikings. 4-year, $140 million contract for Justin Jefferson. $110 million of that is guaranteed. So Justin Jefferson running straight to the bank with J.J. McCarthy throwing him footballs this upcoming season. Look, it's well-deserved. Justin Jefferson is on the Hall of Fame trajectory. He's the best receiver in the NFL, bar none, no exceptions, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is the best in the league as it stands right now entering 2024. But from the Minnesota Vikings perspective, I struggle with this because, look, I get paying Justin Jefferson that money. He deserves that money. But you are in a nice situation right now where you purposely move on from a quarterback who was good enough to get you to the playoffs, to maybe even win a playoff game or two in Kirk Cousins, and say, hey, I think we prefer the rookie contract. We'd rather reset the clock at quarterback so we can lock up Justin Jefferson so we can help elevate a rookie quarterback and J.J. McCarthy, or if it does go the other way early in the season, a youngish, but cheap option in Sam Darnold. Whoever the starter is, they don't have to expend a lot of their monetary stuff on the quarterback position. They can focus on keeping Justin Jefferson around. He earned the money, but I'd much rather be in the position of the Green Bay Packers, where inevitably by the start of this football season, the Packers will be paying their quarterback, I would probably guess somewhere in the top 5 to 7, if not higher, in terms of average annual value in all of the quarterbacks, right? They don't have to pay their wide receivers for several years. And they've got a quarterback who they already know is the face of their franchise. I thought this was an interesting note from former Packers executive Andrew Brandt on Twitter, at Andrew Brandt, where he says, Justin Jefferson, $35 million a year. The Packers' 10 wide receivers that they have on the roster right now will make a combined $12 million in 2024. $35 a year for Jay Jettas, $12 million a year for not one, not two, not three, but 10 Packers wide receivers in 2024. Now, obviously, they won't roster all those guys come week 1 in Brazil, but I think that's just a fascinating look inside the financial side of football. And the Packers, we've had this conversation a million times, and we'll continue to have it this offseason. The Packers don't really have that true number one, right? Like Minnesota does, Detroit does, Chicago does in the NFC North have a true number one receiver. Chicago, it's DJ Moore, and obviously in Detroit, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, who got paid mega bucks this offseason as well. But you'd rather be in the position of, hey, let's shred defenses by committee. And you might have a guy like Christian Watson or Jaden Reed or Dontavian Wicks step up and evolve into that true number one security blanket for Jordan Love. But I don't know if it's necessary. You saw it work, I think, better than anybody expected a year ago. You saw this group lead this Packers team to a playoff win on the road without having a 1,000-yard receiver. And yeah, would I rather have Justin Jefferson than maybe a Christian Watson or a Dontavian Wicks? Duh, anybody would. But not for that price tag. When you got to pay a quarterback, what do we think? $55 million a year? Yeah, you'd probably rather have the situation the Packers have, which is the best case scenario. The young up-and-comers that aren't worth a ton of money yet. This is a great situation to be in if you're the Green Bay Packers. That's the way I look at the Justin Jefferson deal. And again, I say, he deserved the money. But you know what kind of team can pay a wide receiver quarterback money? By the way, Baker Mayfield, who had a really, really, really good season last year. Let's remember, he came to Lambeau and posted a perfect passer rating. He is now making less money per year than Justin Jefferson. And Baker Mayfield's a pretty darn good quarterback. I'd put him right in the middle of the pack, probably like 16th in the league. But he can win you games. He won you a division a year ago. Baker Mayfield's a solid quarterback. He's making less money than Justin Jefferson. So I'd rather be in the position that the Green Bay Packers are in right now than the Minnesota Vikings are in by paying Justin Jefferson $35 million a year, but well-deserved nonetheless, Hunter.
This also creates something interesting down in Dallas of how much does CeeDee Lamb get then? Because I saw a graphic that they're waiting. His agent was waiting until Justin Jefferson signed his deal. And CeeDee Lamb in the same career has one less All-Pro, 400 less yards, but 3 more touchdowns.
Yeah, and 8 more games, if I'm not mistaken. Too,
yes. Yeah, but it's still, like, statistically, like, they're very close.
And I would imagine contractually they'll be very close.
Yeah.
But you also have to wonder then if you're the Cowboys, what happens to Dak Prescott?
Yep.
Because he's awaiting a payday too. So, hey.
This resets everything.
Listening to what you say, though, about the Cowboys and the financial troubles they're going to have to go through, which is a team, by the way, that will be competing for playoff positioning with the Green Bay Packers. I love the spot the Green Bay Packers are in.
You should.
I like it better than Minnesota. I like it better than Dallas. I like it better than Detroit, who's now paying a quarterback and a wide receiver mega millions. All 3 of those teams. I like where the Packers are at better. San Francisco's the one where maybe I can go, well, got Brock Purdy on a rookie deal for 2 more years. A little jealous of that. They also have to pay Trent Williams and Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. And then think about the defense that they have to pay. They're going to hit a wall at some point financially. San Francisco will, but they're still in the running here in 2024. So it's something to keep an eye on. Look, I'm by no means a financial guy, but when you hear that a wide receiver is getting paid more than a guy that played in a playoff game last year in Baker Mayfield, yeah, you probably like your spot a little bit better as a Green Bay Packers fan. Let's talk to a Chicago Bears fan. Let's talk to a Chicago White Sox fan. And a Wisconsin sports anchor and reporter. My guy, Pablo Iglesias from WKOW in Madison will join me coming up next. Big week for him on ESPN Madison. I figured we'd give him a little bit more work. He'll join us in a second, but first, got to tell you about my friends, the lovely team at Door County Distillery, who are locally produced, make handcrafted and award-winning spirits in beautiful Door County up in Carlsville. Weather's getting nice. If you're heading up to Door County, please, I'm telling you, everybody will be like, wow, Strouf was right. You got to check out Door County Distillery. It's awesome. You can do the tour. You can do the tastings. You can check out exclusive products on site in Door County. But even better if you're not going to Door County, if you're just hanging out maybe on the back patio this upcoming weekend with the weather expected to be terrific. Summer is here. Scan the QR code on your screen right now if you're watching on the video side. Or visit doorcountydistillery.com. There is a huge list of unique cocktail recipes, as well as a retail locator. Find the retailer nearest you, whether it is their cherry or apple brandy, whether it is the cherry vodka, whether it is that legendary green bottle of gin, or any of the whiskeys, the single malt, the rye whiskey, the bourbon, my personal favorite. You can get it all. It's affordable. It's local. It's better than everybody else. Check them out, doorcountydistillery.com. That's doorcountydistillery.com. Let's roll 60 seconds from Door County Distillery. When we come back, Pablo Iglesias of WKOW joins us right here. I'm Mr. Relevant. I'm Alex Strouf. Back at Door County Distillery in Carlsville, Wisconsin, with my friend Beth from Door County Distillery. We're mixing up the peach gin and juice today. That sounds like Snoop Dogg would love it. Talk to me, Beth. What are we mixing?
So we're using our gin, our flagship gin today. It's gin, lemonade, a little grenadine, and then our peach wine. So you remember the Carlsville sour we did last year?
I do, very well, yeah.
Same concept. It's just the gradient's gonna be in reverse. So we're gonna start with 1.5 ounces of our gin.
The classic green bottle.
We're gonna do 1 ounce of grenadine, 2 ounces of our lemonade. We're gonna stir that with our bar spoon.
Got it, before we add the wine.
And then we're gonna use the back of our bar spoon to float the peach wine on top. And there we go.
Looks like summer to me, Beth. Cheers.
Cheers.
The peach gin and juice from Door County Distillery with my friend Beth. Check out their website with a huge list of unique cocktail recipes at doorcountydistillery.com. That's doorcountydistillery.com. I said it sounds like Snoop Dogg would drink that. Perfect timing to run that spot, by the way, Hunter. I don't know if you did this on purpose. I'm going to see Snoop Dogg in 12 days. Potawatomi here in Milwaukee. Snoop Dogg, June 15th.
Yeah,
seeing that.
I had zero say in that. That was 100% our social media queen, Maddie Hayes. So she just sends it to me and tells me what to do. So that's all that happened there.
Fair enough. But yeah, good timing on that. That's awesome. All right, joining us now from WKOW in Madison. He is Chicago's finest and Madison's finest. My guy Pablo Iglesias joins us now on Mr. Relevant. Pablo, how are you, my friend? Good to see you.
Slander that you look. We always have this discourse of you and me and the Bears and all that. I get it. Yep. I'm a Chicago guy that covers Wisconsin sports. I know all the jokes, but you attack the Sox. Granted, they are a 15-win team. I'm coming in hot right now. I've been steaming, waiting in this waiting room, man. So I'm ready to go. Let's do this. Are we throwing hands on Mr. Irrelevant? This is my rookie debut, and I'm ready to have my Jordan flu game or whatever it is in this situation.
Yeah, I mean we could go there, right? But like Tommy Pham with the what I forget the term he used now. The hoorah bleep. What was going on there in Milwaukee with Tommy Pham?
I'll put it this way: it's been a frustrating year for the White Sox. It's, as you said too, it's as much as I will always back up my team, it has been horrendous. I will wholeheartedly admit, I think my dad's actually watching. You met my dad too. Diehard White Sox fan. I think he has a lot more expectations for this team than I do. I hate to say it like this. I almost had no question for this group, and they've met it. It's June 3rd, and they have 15 wins this whole season. And it's crazy thinking about where this team expectations and all they were. I guess, again, maybe I'm just looking at this from a fan side, but they were almost the darlings at one point when they won the Field of Dreams game, and all of a sudden they have just had – it's not even a fall from grace. I don't even know where they fell to. But it's – I think it's kind of crazy where Tommy Pham at least is showing me some type of fight. I've always respected him as a player. I've always liked what he's brought to any type of team. He's that scrappy kind of guy, and – lack of a better way, man, it just sucks that this is the return that he's getting. He's on a team that's underperforming. It's just a roster that doesn't have the makeup, honestly. And I give him credit. At least it didn't end the way that it ended when Jose Ramirez and Tim Anderson square up and TA tried to look like Mike Tyson out there and ended up just getting clocked in the face, and that just became a meme, and I just saw everything from my beautiful team just melt in front of my very eyes. This is becoming a sad thing right now. Maybe we should transition, but that's just how it goes, man. It's been a weird thing to see my team just go through this spiral within the last few years. It is what it is.
It is what it is. We're living in the glory days of the Brewers, despite our manager leaving for a team we mutually hate as White Sox and Brewers fans in the Chicago Cubs. But good year for the crew. We'll take it. And no hands swung outside of the shadow boxing Tommy Pham did as he ran to the outfield yesterday at AmFam Field. All right, let's transition because I did want to ask you about this. A video circulating over the weekend, Pablo, of Caleb Williams and Romo Dunze in a club, just like they weren't chanting it, I'll give them that, but fans yelling at them, Green Bay sucks. And this is not the first time we've seen this happen. It happened at a Cubs game a couple of weeks ago. Same chant in the outfield at a Cubs game when the Cubs and Brewers were playing. I don't even know how to respond to this because Matt LaFleur 10-0 against the Bears in his career. Elton Jenkins famously said on this show he's 10-0 as well against the Bears. Green Bay does not suck, at least when it comes to facing the Chicago Bears. But as a Bears fan, do you have a newfound confidence leading into this upcoming season due to the drafting of Caleb Williams? Do you feel like you're definitely in the race for the NFC North and the playoff race in the NFC?
I kid you not. It's strange to feel this sense of confidence. It's strange to feel this excited about the Chicago Bears. And, I say it as a fan, but I also say it just, from the professional side too. Let's be honest. I even back it up to the point of the Justin Fields trade. I don't know if we had already talked about this before, but just in general, what that move shows Ryan Poles did to send Justin Fields to the Steelers for a 6th. Everybody looks at it. This is a terrible business move. Why did the Bears do this? Why didn't they try to get a higher draft pick? Ryan Poles, at least from what I believe he said that they received better offers, but it was also that Justin Fields wanted this situation instead. Justin Fields wanted to go to the Steelers. He had a short list of teams. And in that situation, as a Bears fan and also kind of as a working professional seeing this sport from afar, it shows me that Ryan Poles and the Bears organization are trying to change the narrative just from looking at it from the business standpoint. They want to try to change what does the Chicago Bears look like? Because looking at the Bears, looking at the Bulls, those are two teams that I use. It's a big market. It's a big city. They have a lot of history, but also the players talk. The players talk, and they all say that you might want to watch out. I think, honestly, even that I forgot who it was that was on Thanasis' podcast talking about his time with the Bulls. I think it was Michael Carter-Williams saying,
"You got it.
I did not like my time with the Bulls because they were just a strange organization." And I get it. That obviously that hurts as a Chicago guy, but it's also not a bad take either. It's just been strange because both those organizations, again, they're teams I've rooted for my entire life as a kid, but they've also been just this false nostalgia kind of thing. And to go back to your question, though, I just feel very excited about the Bears. I feel excited about the moves that they're doing, and even just for the NFC North in general, too. I think JJ deserved the bag that he deserved. It's I'm going to bite my tongue so that I need some cold open sound somewhere when somebody cuts this. But the Packers offense was kind of cold with the wide receivers. I know that's going to come back and bite me. I know, but it's also what it is too. Jordan Love, he's different than what Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers were as Bears fans. I don't know. Some Bears fans are different about it, but at least Jordan Love kind of has this like different type of character about him, and he is fun to watch just from that side. Flip throw, he did learn that from Rodgers, but even just seeing the how factor that was fun. And I'm excited for what's ahead. I'm curious to see how the Bears are going to do with Caleb Williams. I mean, I love to joke about him, like, oh, sky's the limit, but you know what? It's his rookie season. But how many 7-10 teams are set up this way with the number 1 draft pick coming in?
Not many.
And Keenan Allen being an all-pro receiver, being most likely too, and the potential idea too. I mean, you're going to have DJ Moore. Not everyone's going to be double-teamed. You can't double-team everybody. Cole Kmet coming off a great year too at tight end, possibly working with Gerald Everett and seeing how Shane Waldron likes to run that double tight end set. That's going to be fun. You'll have DeAndre Swift, who's a hard runner, guy who's a good blocker too. That is kind of where my concern is. They did boost the offensive line, but where are the Bears going to be? I'm excited. I'm cautiously optimistic, but optimistic nonetheless.
Cautiously optimistic is one way to be, Pablo, and I can appreciate that. I'm not going to talk smack. Look, I think this is going to be a really good division, right? Like Detroit is still the clear front runner in my eyes. I think Green Bay is probably number 2, but could there be 3 playoff teams in this division? I'm certainly not doubting it, given what we saw Chicago do a year ago. Now, you make a point, right? Like, there's not a lot of 7-win teams that get the number 1 overall pick and then add Keenan Allen and Gerald Everett and DeAndre Swift to their offense, plus Rome Odunze, might I add, who was also added to this offense. I just feel like the expectations for Caleb Williams will be higher than they typically are for a number 1 overall pick, but I think that's how it should be given the setup that Chicago has offensively. Is that a fair thought for my chair here as a Green Bay Packers fan, or am I just being an ass because it's the Chicago Bears?
No, I mean, it's true. You want the number one. Let's look at this. How many top quarterbacks have been truly successful out of the gate that have been taken the last few years? I mean, really, if we look at it, it's probably been Trevor Lawrence, who's had the most consistent track record, and even then, he doesn't have a Super Bowl under his belt. But again, we also have to look at what is built before Caleb Williams even got here. It was more of just using Trevor Lawrence as an example. They had to start building around him once they got him. Or it was even like with CJ Stroud and just trying to take a risk as well and hoping that the young guys come through. I mean, you could very well get that situation too. And I really commend the Texans for what they've done, and also getting Stephon Diggs. That's going to be exciting to see how that offense works. But going back to the whole thing, I think, yes, the expectations are very high, but hey, take it for what you will. Even though he wasn't, he was encouraging it. There was always this discourse that Caleb Williams didn't want to be in Chicago. There was this talk that, I don't really like this, or there was always this talk that he didn't want to go to Chicago. And you see him at like one of probably, I'll just say, like the frattiest party bars in Chicago of the old Pro. Going with the chance of Green Bay sucks. That is a man who is embracing it all. That is a man who wants to be here, who wants to win, who wants to show the city, I am changing the narrative of what this place is going to be about. And that is why, any sports city, any city loves it when the person just embraces what it's about. That's why people love Jordan so much, was because he was this blue-collar guy. He wasn't afraid to fly. He wasn't afraid to, get hit and even if he got knocked down, the Jordan rules type of thing with the Pistons. He still found a way to make it through. He was this titan, man. That's what it was. And that's why people in Chicago, or just in general in those big cities, always respect somebody who's about it, who wants to make sure they're all in. And for instance, Justin Fields, I think in his own way wasn't all, but people didn't, people were on one side or the other. But again, seeing how excited he was, seeing when he screamed at the top of his lungs, stepping out on that stage, it wasn't sure, at least for me, it felt genuine. He was excited as all hell when Rome Odunze was drafted. They showed all the videos. This just, to me, feels like that he knows what's ahead of him. He knows that he needs to keep working hard. He knows that he's got a lot on his plate, but it's not like the Bears have not set him up for the most successful situation that a rookie quarterback could potentially have. What does the other side look like? I don't know. But the potential is there. Everything that, back up, maybe not everything, but more than enough has been provided for a rookie quarterback than many in the past.
I think that's well said. Yeah. We will see, obviously, as we lead closer to the season, but it is a fascinating situation. Chicago's in. They're right back in the mix, I feel. I think they just might need to
don't get scared, man. Don't get scared.
I'm not scared. That's not right. Matt LaFleur's never lost.
Sure?
Once he loses, maybe I'll be scared. But I truly subscribe to the theory, or more so the opinion, that if Chicago is good and Green Bay continues to be good, which it seems like they're on the trajectory to be good for several years with Jordan Love at the helm, this could be the most fun this rivalry has been in how long, Pablo, right? Like, obviously, they played in the NFC Championship game back in the 2010 season, and there were a few years there where it was back and forth. But overall, this rivalry has been completely one-sided for the last decade. So if Chicago comes back, and let's say they win one this year, and they split the series, and Chicago is just on the outside looking into the playoffs, and Green Bay gets back, like, there's a lot of juice and a lot of buzz to this rivalry in 2025. Obviously, the Week 18 game doesn't have a time slot yet, but I think it's a noon game for the other one. So there's not like a huge national buzz to this rivalry like there once was. So I hope we get back to a position where, maybe Detroit goes back down to earth in a couple of years, and it's Chicago versus Green Bay year after year for the division title. That's something I can get behind. I don't want the Bears to be good, but if they are, I like that the rivalry is good. That's something I can get down with.
I think, I'm right there with you. It's like not an agree to disagree, but we can both come together and believe that is good for the division. And hopefully, I don't know if it's completely confirmed with the Hard Knocks in season, if it's going to be the divisions instead. I think you have to look at the NFC. You really have to consider this. What other division is sexier than this? And we were talking about this personally too when it came down to the Hard Knocks teams who met the first 1-3. As much as I'd love to see what the Broncos and Saints are doing in training camp, we know what the story is. We knew that clear cut that these were going to be, it was going to be the Chicago Bears under Caleb Williams, under this new, at least on paper, potentially potent offense. But yeah, like you were saying, I think it's going to be great for the rivalry. I'm excited. Don't get me wrong. I got to take my step back whenever I'm watching the game or if I'm putting the highlights together from my professional side. But it's exciting, man. I think this is an exciting time to see what the NFC North looks like. It's almost, I was just thinking about this today. Take it for what it's worth, apples, oranges, but it's almost like how we talk about Wisconsin transitioning too into the air offense. Actually, it wasn't exactly what we wanted it to see in the first year, but it's like how the Big Ten is almost making this transition, or college football even in general. Like the Big Ten, for instance, it's always been this, big upfront, strong run game. You got some big tight ends and all that. It was always just like hard-nosed thing, and it still kind of is like that, but it's also going in a transition too with the former Pac-12 teams coming in. It's going to be a little bit more pass-first, so it's just going to feel faster. It's still going to have that grit edge to it because of the fan base, but it's going to be fast and it's going to. So I'm curious to see what the rivalry looks like. It's just about all clicking. I mean, I love to see the Bears split the series, but really just make it competitive. Yeah. Even Week 18, that was not the prettiest game for a number of reasons between the Bears and Packers. Even though they were in it, it was just like, okay, all right, they're in it. Let's see what happens. But I don't think we'll get that product, at least the second time around. God forbid, I'm not trying to say the Packers are going to blow out the Bears. Don't you dare do this. Not saying that, Strouf, all right?
Yeah, you're saying that. That's what I'm hearing.
Saying is, no, that's not what you're hearing. Don't be doing this to me, man. Don't be doing this. But no, like I was saying though, it's so exciting to see, as a fan, as a professional, what the NFC North is going to. Heck, even honestly, what the Vikings did. The fact that they went around and turned in Dallas Turner, it wasn't a move of desperation in a way. It was a move that needed to be done for sure. And the fact that they pulled out a power move like that, I think it helps because their defense has. I mean, look at their offense on paper too. I mean, you've got Jordan Addison, you've got Justin, you've got those two guys, and who knows? Maybe Sam Darnold will surprise us all, or it's who we expect to be in JJ McCarthy. So, but
and maybe he surprises us, right? Like, there's. I think you and I probably are with the masses that think JJ McCarthy won't translate well as an NFL quarterback. But when you look at the situation he's walking into comparably to Chicago, when you have Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, as you mentioned, when you have Aaron Jones as your running back, when TJ Hawkinson returns healthy, he's one of the better tight ends in the league. Offensive line isn't great, but Minnesota's got a pretty darn potent offense, at least at the skill positions as well. So, yeah, this is a very, to use your word, sexy division without a doubt. The only other one is the AFC North with Cincinnati, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore. I think that's the only other division where I go, whoa, that could be anybody's race. I feel like it's really down to the two in Detroit and Green Bay, but I think Chicago could absolutely be a playoff team as well. Before I let you go, Pablo, I know the AmFam Championship coming up this weekend in Madison. First off, how's your golf game looking? And secondly, how much time will you be spending at University Ridge this weekend, Friday through Sunday?
Ben would be there all week. I mean, technically the event starts today. I think it's more charity stuff, but if I could be there right now, I'd take a ride over. It looks like actually it's about to rain, so maybe I don't want to be outside. But I'm super excited. This is going to be a fun field as always. Steve Stricker coming back last year at University Ridge before it moves to TPC Wisconsin. I mean, these, especially to even talk about two characters that come out for the PGA Tour champions. You get John Daly back in the field. You get Miguel Angel Jimenez. He's always just been like the true embodiment of the most interesting man in the world. So I am so excited for that. I will be out there for the first round Friday for sure. A little bit of Wednesday, Thursday coverage for the media. I'm excited to see who the fourth in that foursome is going to be. Michael Phelps is always fun to see. I love Derek Jeter. I don't know if he'll be back this year. Maybe it will be. But Matt Ryan's in the bunch. That's solid.
I like that.
I don't think Christian Yelich will be able to get that Saturday off unless Pat Murphy is happy to give him that. But I'm excited, and oh man, but all bets are off because it's Mr. Irrelevant. We're just gonna say we're on a heater right now, man. I just shot a 51 yesterday after 9.
Ooh.
For me, that's a proud achievement. For the golfers out here that are like trying to get closer to 36, it is what it is. But a plus 15 or whatever my math is, that you know what? That's what we're looking at. We're coming in hot, baby. That's what's happening. You know, we come into the show hot and we leave hot. We keep it going. That's how we go. That's how we do it here.
My man. We'll swing them straight if you get out this week, and I will see you Friday at University Ridge at the AmFam Championship. Thanks for taking the time, buddy. Always good catching up.
All right, likewise, man.
He's the best. Pablo Iglesias from WKOW TV in Madison. You can get him on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at Pablo Iglesias TV. We'll have him back soon. He's the best, man. We did a lot of Chicago talk there, but obviously with the White Sox stuff. And look, I saw the comment come across on the ESPN Madison YouTube page. I think it was from David, who said, Stroufy, I'm being respectful, but I'm getting the sense Bears fans are in your head. Yeah, you might be right. I'm sick of the trash talk, and Pablo wasn't doing that, right? Like him and Rutledge, who I have on to talk Bears sometimes. They don't talk trash. They're not the ones in the frat bars in Chicago yelling Green Bay sucks, or at the Cubs games yelling Green Bay sucks. Those bother me because every example you can pull out is that that's not true, right? The current head coach of the Packers has never lost a game to the Chicago Bears. There's most of this roster has never lost a game to the Chicago Bears. So they're not in my head rent-free, but they are a fascinating team this year. And I do like that we're going to get to see them up close and personal on HBO's Hard Knocks this preseason. But yeah, they were a 7-win team a year ago, and all signs point to improvement this offseason. I think they're an interesting team. I think at the NFC North, I've said it time and time again, I think it's the most fascinating division in the NFC. I haven't spent this much time in the Lions because they've earned it, right? Like, there's not much to say. They're a good football team. The Vikings are kind of an afterthought. Green Bay, we spend all of our time on this show because they're the Packers. And then the Bears, they're fascinating. Not often you see a 7-win team get the number 1 overall pick. Hunter, go ahead.
I don't know. I'm starting to get the sense that you might be a closet Bears fan. Like, I feel like since, we're going to be talking about it here, you had a eventful weekend. I think there was probably some blue and orange that spilled out of your closet as you were moving.
No, the only blue was Milwaukee Brewers blue, and the only orange were the 2 Cleveland Browns jerseys I own, which are Johnny Manziel and Tim Couch. Thank you very much. So no blue and orange spilling out of my closet, but he's right. I did move out of my apartment in Madison. Now, I am technically unhomed currently. I'm still a professional couch surfer, but I did move out, and it was pouring rain the entire time. And so the trailer that my mom's boyfriend brought down to help me out with, he brought tarps, but like when you're driving down the highway in a monsoon, the tarps aren't going to do you a ton. So every piece of furniture I own is soaked currently. Now we laid it all out in the sun Saturday night into Sunday, and it was baking yesterday. Things got pretty dry. But man, like the things about moving are this. Number one, you own way more stuff than you realize. Like, I thought I didn't own that many things. I own a lot more than I realized. So moving took a lot longer than I realized. Moving sucks, man. But like, I don't own enough stuff to hire movers, especially when, by the way, I don't really have a place to move to yet. That part doesn't help when you can't hire movers. So yeah, it just sucks. It sucks. My body hurts. It was a good workout. I got over 20,000 steps in on Saturday, which was worthwhile. I did the trifecta in one day. The trifecta, for those of you wondering. I woke up in Milwaukee. I spent the day in Madison. I partied that night in Green Bay. How about a trifecta for you, hitting all 3 cities in one day? That's like the 3rd time I've done this year as well. So go me. Little trifecta action. But yeah, man, moving stinks. So we'll have this conversation again in probably probably less than a month when I move into a place in Milwaukee. But I'm exhausted. It's an exhausting activity is moving. But I own way too many things, had to throw out a few things, and everything I own got soaked. So there you go. There was my Saturday. Happy Saturday to you. Hunter, when's the last time you moved?
It was a couple of years ago, and my wife and I hired movers because we had enough stuff. Yeah. Absolutely the way to go. Once you get to the point where you feel like you have enough for potentially to have movers, do it. It costs more, but we literally just had everything boxed up against the wall in our apartment. These two guys come in.
Yeah.
They've got dollies.
Yeah.
They pull everything in. They wrapped everything up. They had blankets on it. We did nothing. And then they moved it into our new apartment. We pointed them to the room we wanted things in. They set it down, and then we set things up. It was great. Hiring movers is the way to go. And I feel like once you get over the age of like 27, asking people to help you move is done. Like, you can't be doing it anymore. You've got to go with the movers, or you got to figure it out yourself. Because just giving people some like pizza and that, it's just not good enough anymore.
No, it doesn't work. Yeah, no, you're right. I'm past that part, but we will see. All right, time now. Wrap it up as we always do. What Strouf learned? I learned something new today. Hope you did too. Hope you learned plenty of new things over the weekend. We should start doing this. I want everybody to tell me what they learned. Give me one sentence going forward. We'll start this on Wednesday. Just chime in on YouTube or tweet me when you learn something. I want to not outsource it because I'll still bring what I learned, but I do want to hear what other people learn. Sometimes you learn stupid facts. Sometimes you take a deep dive on a Wikipedia page, and sometimes you have a life event where you just learn an outcome. I'm always intrigued by other people, so feel free to tweet me at Alex_Strouf or chime in on the YouTube chat. Going forward, we'll roll this at Wednesday. Hunter, I want you a part of this beginning Wednesday.
Okay.
What did you learn? I want to hear what other people learned as well when I tell you what I learned. So I will do this. The Wisconsin Volleyball, obviously the new home of Wisconsin Volleyball, is 100.5 ESPN in Madison and 620 WTMJ, just right up the hall here in Milwaukee. The brand new radio homes of Wisconsin Volleyball. They announced today officially, there were some rumors flying around the rumor mill, but it is official that Louisville will host a four-team, essentially, I don't even know what it's called, tournament, essentially, more of a showcase with four of the top teams in the country in Louisville. And the NCAA championship this year is being held in Louisville. So theoretically, Wisconsin could start and end their season in Louisville, Kentucky. Now, the four teams feature will be Kentucky, Louisville, Nebraska. Obviously, remember some of the great matches between Wisconsin and Nebraska last year, and Wisconsin, the four teams in the showcase. This is going to be terrific out in Louisville. The only time that Wisconsin and Louisville have ever played was a 2014 sweep 3-0 in terms of Wisconsin, but they met, one other time in the 2021 NCAA championship. It's a rematch of that in the season opener this year. So, awesome stuff from Wisconsin Volleyball going to Louisville, have the opportunity to start and end their season in Kentucky. So I like that for the AVCA First Serve Showcase is the name of the showcase going down in Louisville. David, I learned by firsthand account through Hunter that Strouf has a secret affection and fascination with the Bears. Joseph, I learned Hunter is a Murphy stan. I like this. It's going to be a good exercise going forward. Go ahead, Hunter.
I am a fan, and I'm a fan of the fact that this showcase, they went with probably four of the most passionate volleyball fan bases in the country. So, like, that place is going to be rocking the entire weekend. It's not like it's just like, okay, we've got two good teams, but they're going to play two teams that they're probably just going to like beat up on. And then they're like, no, we're going to get four awesome teams. Everybody's going to be fired up. It's going to have an NCAA tournament vibe, and it's the first matches of the season. It's awesome. Absolutely love it.
Love it, man. All right, we're back with you Wednesday. Programming note, by the way, I forgot to mention this at the top. We will not have a Mr. Irrelevant Friday. However, if you want to see/hear me, you're actually going to get more of me this week than you have in past weeks. So Monday, Mr. Irrelevant. Wednesday, Mr. Irrelevant, beginning at 12:30. Thursday, I'm filling in for the Emmy winner, Homer, Steve the Homer True, on the Homer Hour from 5 to 6 p.m. with the Marquette Hall of Famer Tony Smith. It's the first day of the NBA Finals, so I'm sure we'll be diving into that from 5 to 6 p.m. on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee and on the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube channel. Friday, no show, but I will still be live on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. extended version. We're doing Rutledge and Hamilton in a different time slot Friday from the AmFam Championship from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. I'll be on with Jim Rutledge on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel, as well as with my guys from KBN from 2 until 5. We're with you at the AmFam Championship all afternoon on Friday. Saturday morning as well, you can catch me with Molly Brown on ESPN Madison and ESPN Milwaukee on the radio side.
And
the
producer
video streams.
Hunter Vaughn.
And Hunter with us. I didn't know that, Tiny Hands. That's lovely. Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon from the AmFam Championship. So with you a ton this week, so look forward to that. But as for Mr. Relevant, we're done. We're back with you in about, what's the math on that? 47 hours, 12:30 on Wednesday. We're back with you, ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison, YouTube pages, and of course available wherever you get your podcast. The podcast feed, of course, brought to you by Door County Distillery, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Wisconsin on demand. Take care of yourself until Wednesday. We'll talk to you then. It's Mr. Relevant. I'm Alex Strouf. Peace.